guys. So let's start.
Yeah. Let's start with Alex, probably. Alex, are you ready to?
I can. Yes, I can start, and I think now you see my screen, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay, so let me introduce you the Save Asset Data functionality, and also just we merged it several days ago, and right now we have next. So when you open the Adobe Stock search grid and select an image, you can save it to the you can save it and also save it to the media folder and see it in the proper directory. So just when you click Save Preview, magic happens, and ta-da, we have a new already selected image, and for example, Vasily category. Let's save another image to the sales folder. Again, just let's select another beautiful picture, save, and here we are. So this save asset, save image functionality is a little bit complex. So it not only save physically file to the media folder and allow Magento admin users to use it for any needs, but also we save some assets data. So we save completely plus some other assets required information, and this allows us to proceed with the customization for sales for Adobe Stock image grid. So thank you, Sergey, for your help with this. So just we worked together on this, and we're really proud to provide this functionality for community. So just take it and be happy in use. So maybe,
nice job. I have a question. This is Christopher from Stock. Yeah, it looks good. What I'm wondering on the Magento side, when you save the image, do you have an extra metadata field that you could display? I mean, I see right now you're naming it with the path of the image, which is not ideal. I mean, I think either it would be good to name it with a stock ID only, which would just be like a 6 to 8 digit number, or what we do on stock is we save it as it'll be called like Adobe Stock _1 2 3 4 5 6 _ preview, something like that, just so you know it's a preview image. But the other thing is in the AEM integration, I think it gets saved under two names. It gets saved under the title in the metadata as well as the ID. Now the title is a little bit problematic sometimes because it could be very long and it has spaces, and I don't know if that would be friendly to your system. So maybe just the asset ID and perhaps the name preview or something. I'm just giving some suggestions just to make it a little easier, more intuitive for your users.
I see. Christopher, do you mean saving image like in database, the ID of the image, or are you talking about UI, like what we are displaying for user?
I believe we're talking about the file name.
Yeah, what you're displaying and also the file name. From this UI here. Okay, I see you're displaying two fields. The first field is the size of the image, and then the second field is the file name.
So right now we are basically using the file name, the same file name as it is in Adobe Stock, or
right.
The naming.
I mean, you could use that. It just looks it's a little arbitrary. the only piece of information that should be important, I think, to the end user would be the actual ID of the image.
Okay.
Not all that junk that says 500 F and a bunch of characters and.
Olena, do you have any preferences on that?
Can you show me the name? This is like 5 and something that we just cut because it's too long.
Yeah, it's a long, like really, it's meaningless
title
name of the file.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
The path field.
It's a path.
Yeah, that's a really nice, really good input, Christopher. I think it's also useful for search engine optimizations, right?
I'm not sure that either image stock ID or this random string will be useful for search engine optimization.
I mean, file name might be useful for it.
Okay, so Olena, what's your call on that?
So I just want to clarify, if we already save all of the attributes that we defined needs to be stored in the database associated with the image. Has this already happened?
Yeah, you can see the attributes saved to the database table right now on the screen, but we are not.
Okay,
We are showing just the title and the author.
Yes, and I showed the structure of the main data table.
Yeah, so kind of ideally we need to display for user like something that identifies this image as a source from stock. So like stock and maybe its code. So if we have that information in the database, maybe we can just generate the new file name based on that.
Yeah, it's not a problem to generate our file name. I think we can use the title of the image replacing spaces with dashes, for example, and add some.
It might be too long. I mean, the title might be too long for the file name.
Well, if you give it a
limit,
limit,
like this.
Yeah, you could say take the first 50 characters or something and then cut it off. That would help for SEO, certainly. Now, in some cases, though, just keep in mind, or you may not be aware, we don't localize the title to your region. So the title will be named by the user in their native language, whatever they set it at. So it could be Chinese characters.
Oh, it's Chinese.
Okay, I see.
I mean, as long as it's a UTF-8, it shouldn't be a problem, but it won't always mean something to the user. Well, I'll send you guys a follow-up and just give you some suggestions of what we do in stock and what AEM does, and then you can decide if you want to put that into your plan. But I think the path by itself is kind of meaningless to the user, and I think it would be good to give it some indication so they know it came from stock.
Yeah, I agree that we kind of it should be visible in the media gallery that this is stock image, and now we kind of lose all of the connection for user at least. Of course, we save that data in the database, but we don't display that.
Yeah, I like the idea, Chris' idea about having like a stock and stock ID as a file name. It will be more or less clear for everyone. In terms of search engine optimization, that's absolutely another topic.
Probably such approach will help us to replace image with license in the next milestone. That we will have patterns that we should place, like a file name that contains Adobe Stock ID.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so Sergey, just let's make a note on that, and yeah, we can follow up.
Yeah, we can discuss the exact structure of the title and apply it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Good. Thank you, Alex. Thanks very much. It's a big part of the functionality.
Thank you, Alex.
Yep. And yep.
Thanks a lot. And Just want to make sure, Raul, are you ready to demo?
Yes, I am.
Good. Then it's your turn.
Okay, well, this week I work on a Magento framework functional testing test for the isolated filter option in the grid. This is the issue, and I'm going to show you the execution of the test now. Oh,
We don't see your screen yet.
can you see my screen now?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Better?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right. I start from the beginning then. This is the issue I work this week. It's basically the isolated filter in the grid. It was about to create a test, a functional test to cover that filter. These are the steps that need to be executed, and I was about to show you the execution of the test. Could you guys confirm you can see the terminal?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the test now being executed. I'll try to divide the screen so you can see in the left-hand side the execution of the test, and in the right-hand side the output of each of the steps. Whoop. Oh, that was unexpected. This time it fails. I'm gonna review and see why it fails, but it was working before. Well, that was basically my contribution this week.
Yeah, with MFTF tests, there is always a big part of environment setup that requires for them to run smoothly. So
yeah, sometimes the cache, sometimes some elements get cached and then the test fail.
It should be green because I ran them, including your test yesterday, so it should work.
Yes, and I just run the test before joining the call, and it was fine. But you can see here one test execution, 6 sessions, and it was all green.
As always, something happens during the demo.
Yeah,
Now,
maybe
is this
just resized the image, the screen. I mean, the window of the browser, maybe because of that.
Probably, yeah.
I have a question. Are these is this testing framework now going to be required for all contributors, or is it optional? How, or are you waiting until it's fully implemented and then you'll require it? How does that work?
That testing framework is a standard testing framework for Magento. So it's dev required for Magento framework and all related projects.
So, and does it get automatically run? Would it get automatically run during the pull request, or is this something you would have to run? The developer would have to run manually, to check their submission.
No, we don't run any tests on hooks, on GitHub hooks. So it's all either we have to set up a CI/CD that will run those tests, or developer has to run them manually. Like
Okay.
functional tests also take much more time than unit integration tests, because they require UI, and yeah, it's wise to run them separately.
I wanted to add that units and integration, in the other hands, I believe are executed every time we create a pull request, and that's done automatically through Travis CI, or not for the functional test.
Yeah, we are still planning to. We are running static and unit tests on Travis CI. We are still planning to add functional tests and web API tests to run on each pull request. But yeah, as a separate on Travis, not on GitHub hooks. Good. Thank you, Raul. Stas, would you like to show something?
Yeah, I can show 1000, but right before the demo, I found a bug with it. I can show. So, the task about preserving state of this tab when you close the, your browser tab or leave the Magento admin. For example, I try to find cars. I want to show 64 items per page, and I want to apply red color. I found several images, and for example, I closed the tab or just reloaded it by mistake. And if I go to the Adobe Stock after the page reload, I receiving the same results as before. So all filters that I applied before should be applied, in your next visit. And you can also come back to the latest search results and continue work with them. With the task. I'm also implemented preserve state of the opened image, but sometimes it not saving, and I should find the cause of it and fix this bug. Sometimes it's saving, sometimes not. So it's.
Is this stored as session data or cookie data?
No, it's storing in our database. We are using default Magento mechanisms called Bookmarks for the all Magento grid. So you can configure your grid with filters, with sorting, with anything else, and your preset will be saved. You also can save your view, so you can, for example, name it red cars. Yes.
Is that shareable or not? You can't share that with another user, could you, on your team, to say, here's this?
Right now, it's working only for the current user, and you can save states,
Yeah, it's a user scope only. You cannot share it right now.
Yeah. That's fine. I was just curious. It's pretty cool, though.
That's it.
Okay. Good.
Okay, thank you. Good. I would like to just to follow up on the login functionality that was demoed on the previous public meeting, that right now we have an ability to log in, and we added passing of redirect URL from dynamic redirect URL from Magento admin side, so that Magento past URL is used instead of default configured in the integration. There is nothing new to show here. UI looks the same, but it's just a follow-up. And I think that's all for today. Do you have any questions, comments, proposals, ideas?
Maybe I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Just I have very small questions. First, the technical one. I see that we have the age filter in the search parameters class in the stock API library. Will we plan to implement it?
Say that again. Well, what is it that you see that you're? Yeah. Let me hear that again.
Just I can share my screen, so just it will be just super quick. 1 second. Okay, now you see my screen, and just I found this filter, age filter. So, but I didn't find it at the main Adobe Stock site. So there is no such filter. But from my point of view, it should be added.
So age is actually deprecated, but you can filter. You can sort them. You can sort them by date, and it will give you, you can sort them from newest to oldest images, but this old filter is deprecated because no one was using it. Basically, this would let you choose, select a date, say, I want images that are exactly 6 to 9 months old when they were entered, and it wasn't really, no one was really using that.
Okay. Just not the age, age limit, but the age limit when you create image. Okay, nice. So this maybe, thank you for your reply. But the next question is, what about our future plan about library functionality, or just add to favorites? I mean that, for example, when you just go through the Adobe Stock images and just press like at the main Adobe site.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And in fact, that's something that's still a topic that we are working on, because we have another use case for customers who do print on demand. They do a lot of collections. So actually, we're actively working on that, but today we don't have a good solution for it, a good single solution for API users. It really only exists on the website. But if you think, I think what we would need to also support it somehow in the UI, so there could be a workflow where users could go into stock and arrange items into some kind of a collection, and then we would have to expose a method in Magento to be able to show those collections. But it gets into some trickier issues. But yeah, if you think, you could always write up an issue for it, and we could think about it as a future enhancement. I'm just not sure how important yeah, it's a good question.
Okay, thank you. I do not have any other question at this moment.
Yeah, as far as I understand, Sergey, right now we actually completed all the tasks required for milestone 1. Is it correct?
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay, and yeah, actually that's great. That's like a accomplishment of the first milestone of this project, which is really exciting. And as far as I understand, we already implemented some parts for the milestone 2. And this week we will have at least 2 sessions for the grooming for the milestone 2 and epic for, I mean, tasks for the milestone 3. So we're gonna make these events public. So guys, if you are interested, feel free to join. We will send you invitation, I mean, link to the online meetings, and you will be able to also participate in these grooming sessions, ask your questions, bring your ideas, anything else you need.
Oh, okay, nice. Maybe it will be good to just send questions before we start this meeting, just to make it more productive. I mean, for example, you can share the link to it and the date, for example, tomorrow. Yes, and just if someone will have questions, we can send it, because, for example, I have about 4 questions, and it will be nice to write down them to give you ability to think, and this will save time.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you.
Sure, please send me your questions. We're going to have the first grooming session tomorrow, so I will send the invites today.
Oh, nice.
And share all the details.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, good. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day, and see you on our next public meeting. Bye-bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.